in Ride the High Country, and which was the film that Peck and Paul made. You know, it was like the first Western that he made, incorporating, you know, the men, the buddy system. There's has anybody seen Ride the High Country? So you know, it's a great film. It's with Joel McCrea and Randall Scott, and actress Mariette Hartley and Ron Starr. And it's about two, once again, you know, it's his thing with women, Sam's take on women and men and the West. And but Sam, he knows what he wants. He also lets you go a lot. I mean, he lets you deliver the goods. And there were times where it was rather stressful. There was a huge cast. And Sam did do some things that I suppose go along with his resume of, let's go ahead and break the windows because we're releasing the home. We'll just trash it a little bit. But I really felt very honored to work with him. He was an extraordinary man, and he changed film, you know. He changed the way that men and women are seen on screen. Some people have said to me, oh, Sam was just, you know, a misogynist, and he wasn't really at all. But the relationships, I mean, what he did for me, and also as a man and as a filmmaker, I like men, I like boys, and I'm a girl. And Sam, in his films, showed me, you know, from the time I was a kid, you know, showed me men and women relating in a way that was dangerous, that was protective. His films showed me what male camaraderie was really about. And he showed me that men can be afraid of women. So I consider it a great gift to have worked with him and met him, and to be on a set with him. I had a great time. Thanks.
I think every man is afraid of women in this room. Or at least you should be.
Yes, we know better. My question is, Pascal, are you in Halloween 1? This is the last, I'll say, third of the movie. You're being chased by Michael Myers. And he literally, physically took that house apart piece by piece. So that, my question is that the same house they used at the beginning, filmed in sequence, or was it a different house?
Yeah. It was the same house that we filmed. If I remember correctly, we did all the basement stuff first, and then we did all the exterior stuff last. But it was the same house. They did tweak it up a bit after filming. But it was really, really easy. We had amazing people doing that. Yeah.
This is for Meg. You touched on John Carpenter a little bit.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us what it was like to be directed by him, whether he gave you free reign to do what you wanted, or if it was more hands-on?
It's not free reign. Well, the film They Live, I mean, it's different than his other films, but all his films are fabulous. So it was how, I always felt that it was I was in a genre film that really wasn't, you know, being shot in the 1980s. It was being shot in the 1950s, but it really was in the 80s. And with the magnitude and the message of the film and the politics of the film, there's a very small cast. I mean, it was, he orchestrated it like I think that he does his composing. Working with him is very gentle. It moves like a piece of music, you know, it moves like his composing, like I said. But he would say, you know, when it stops being fun, we stop doing it. It was one of the calmest sets I've ever been on. And he worked with, you know, many of the same crew members. And it just flowed beautifully. He knew always what he wanted, and he was very clear, and very specific, and very giving, and also very trusting. So he didn't like it when I pushed Roddy too hard out the window, because the stuntman almost went off the mat and further down the hill. But so that was something we had to pull back from. But the other things we didn't have to. The other stuff was sort of a piece of cake. It was really fun.
This question is for Meg. What was it like working with Terry in Stepfather 2? Who's on Lost now?
Oh, hi. Hi. Terry O'Quinn and Roddy Piper are in the same, they come from the same eggshell. I'd seen Terry O'Quinn's work, and goodness, I think I'd actually, Terry O'Quinn, it's about time. Terry was in a film that I did, yeah, Terry was in Blind Fury, which is a film that starred Rutger Hauer. And Terry and I had met very briefly in the lunch line. And I think Terry O'Quinn is one of the finest actors I've ever worked with. He certainly is one of the finest gentlemen. He's just extraordinary. You are constantly in the presence of someone who is taking a situation and making it real, and taking a relationship and making it real on every level of subtlety as well as intensity. I felt that we were married. I didn't know he was a bad guy. I was totally surprised. No, he made everything very, very real, and he's a consummate actor. I have never worked with anybody with his sort of depth and simplicity at the same time. It was terrific. Terrific to work with him. He also is a fantastic guitar player and singer.
Okay, and a question for both ladies. Maggie mentioned that Sam Peckinpah being an influence on most people, so one of the people he influenced was Catherine Bigelow, so I'd like to ask both ladies, how do you feel about her winning Best Director this year for The Hurt Locker?
Bravo, well deserved, fabulous. She's a terrific director and obviously a great lady too.
The same. Can't say any more than that.
This is actually a two-part question for Scout. Did Daniel Harris have any input as far as what your role should be or how you should act it from H1 to H2? And what was the experience?
Daniel Harris? Did she have any input on how I portrayed Laurie? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, and all around like how you portray the character as well as...
No, she didn't, but it was definitely the first time because I'm a fan of her Halloweens. And the first time working with her, I was really intimidated because I thought maybe she was judging me and watching me every second and, you know, comparing the two. But she's not. She's an amazing, amazing girl and a very talented actress. And actually, doing the second Halloween, the scene in the bathroom where she dies was so hard. She's kind of like my older sister now, and it was just really hard. It's always difficult doing that scene, especially doing it with her. And I remember I actually had to excuse myself because I couldn't get out of the emotion that I was feeling, and I had to run downstairs and kind of calm myself down. I was breaking out in hives. It was just like I couldn't get out of it. And Tyler was down there, and I look at him and I tell him, like, this is really hard. I've never experienced this. I've never been able to not get out of something, and it's really hard to do with her. And he looks down at me, 6'9" guy, he looks down at me and he says, I need a van back to base camp. I'm not dealing with this. But he was joking, he was trying to cheer me up. But no, working with Danielle, I was very intimidated in the beginning, but she's an amazing actress and she's very easy to work with.